Across the country, everyday people have secured structural democracy reforms that have led to major wins that move our country forward. Our system is rigged in favor of the wealthy. These elites use their wealth to purchase political power and buy off politicians who will keep enacting policies that overwhelmingly benefit them and keep the rest of us from fully participating in our democracy. Sowing division is their main strategy for holding on to power. Now, it's easy to feel downtrodden as every aspect of our broken system is laid bare. As the country reels from the death of those like Breonna Taylor and Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and the rights of millions of Americans hang in the balance, it feels more and more like the system is stacked against us. I've been working to overhaul our broken system for decades. I know firsthand how hard the struggle for true justice and equality is. My mother worked on it, my father worked on it, and those before them. Others led this struggle long before I came along. And I've tried to do what I can to link up with others and take up the baton of welfare rights workers and Martin Luther King Jr. and those who started the Poor People's Campaign to unite poor and working class Americans and demand bold policies that lift everyone out of poverty. At every turn, our movement for a moral revival has faced intense backlash from those in power. My faith tradition tells me we are not of those who shrink back unto destruction, but we are those who persevere until the salvation of the soul. We cannot become cynics. We will not give up. Take a look at Seattle. In 2015, the city adopted an innovative small donor system for funding its local campaigns. The city gave 4 $25 democracy vouchers for every registered voter that could be donated to candidates who pledged to only accept cash donations under $250, among other stipulations. The program faced its first major test in 2019, when Amazon poured $1.5 million into city council races to defeat candidates and boost corporate ones. The result of the 6 elections where Amazon and publicly financed progressives went head-to-head, only one of Amazon's candidates won. And the use of the vouchers increased the number of non-voucher small dollar donations and boosted grassroots participation. When big money doesn't dominate our political system, the people can actually have their voices heard. Now let's go across the country to Missouri. In 2018, a grassroots coalition secured 2 major ballot victories. Clean Missouri, a ballot initiative that limited campaign contributions, in addition to other democracy reforms, and Proposition B, which raised the minimum wage. The same coalition behind the 2018 measures came together again and won Medicaid expansion for 230,000 Missourians by a resounding margin. These victories show game-changing shifts in Missouri, with a burgeoning political coalition that is building a system that works for everyday Missourians instead of just the state's wealthy elites. Democracy reforms have also led to major policy wins in Connecticut. In 2008, the state enacted small donor public financing into law, in addition to diversifying the legislature, allowing more people to run for office, and boosting candidates' interaction with voters. Financing system opened the gates for bold legislation that helps working people thrive. In 2012, Connecticut became the first state to require companies to provide paid sick leave for their employees. And in 2020, the state adopted a minimum wage increase, 2 policies that are notoriously opposed by big money donors. In North Carolina, when extremists in the state legislature passed a monster voter suppression bill after the Supreme Court Shelby decision gutted the pre-clearance protections from the Voting Rights Act, the Forward Together Moral Mondays movement challenged the law in the courts and marched in the street to raise awareness about voter suppression. The NAACP filed suit, and we not only won the case with a federal court finding that the politicians who wrote the law had targeted African Americans with almost surgical precision We also made clear to the people of North Carolina that the governor who signed the law was not serving the people. It is easy, my friends, to be pessimistic about the state of our democracy. Some states are restricting voting access. Dark money is flooding some political campaigns, and some politicians governing for their wealthy donors at the expense of everyone else. But we can build on the momentum of grassroots victories and let these inspire us to get bold reforms enacted on the federal level. Poor and low wealth people now make up over 30% of the electorate. 1/3 of all poor people live in the South. Every state that is a voter suppression state blocks living wages and blocks health care. We have the potential to mobilize an historic turnout in this election, giving tens of millions of poor and low wealth eligible voters hope that their participation in this election could lead to real transformative change. 2020 has awakened the country to the full breadth of the injustices that have plagued us for centuries and pushed us to the point where transformational change is the only path forward, where we must engage in moral fusion, organize for moral analysis, moral action, moral articulation. We must engage in lifting our voices at the ballot box and declaring what one old song said, make them hear us. This is just the beginning. Together, we can unrig the system and create a true, genuine democracy, the likes of which America has not yet seen, but must see.